Today, I want to talk to you about an insane stalker that I once had. So, I moved to China and I moved to a new city and I didn't know anybody there. I had no friends, I had no connections, I knew literally nobody. So, I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do here? Especially when you move to a brand new place, a brand new country, a brand new city, you know nothing. It takes a lot of courage to do something like that for those who's never been in that situation before and cannot relate to this. So I was like, the first thing I've got to do is get some foundation, make some contacts, make some connections, get some friends going here. So I asked the locals, I was like, is there any way where you can go to like meet people, make friends and stuff, get to know others, to socialize? And they're like, yeah, there's this spot, it's downtown, it's like the main spot where everybody goes. And like that's the perfect place. Like lots of people there can speak English. There's lots of foreigners and stuff. So I was like, perfect. So I went there, and when I was there, it seemed like a decent night, but to be honest, it was like a live band. I'm not too into that, to be honest, I'm not really into that. I always feel like live bands, I know obviously there's going to be people saying that's not true, but I always feel like my impression of live bands is it's more for older people. Like, I don't know, starting at 40s minimum. 40s, 50s, 60s. Do you know what I mean? The older type. That's the impression I always got anyways as I was growing up. And when I was there was a lot of older people there. So I thought, well, this isn't really my kind of thing, but whatever. If this is where I'm going to meet people, if this is the spot to be, I was like, so be it. So anyways, it was a bit noisy. The live band wasn't so good. It was a bit boring. The songs, the covers were not so good, terrible. And I went outside. To get some fresh air, because all the loud music all the time, like in your ear, it's just a bit too much. So I went outside to get some air. And as I'm sitting there, this group came over, and there's like two guys and like two girls. So they came over, they sat there. And I noticed this other girl, she knew one of the other girls with the two guys. I didn't know any of them. And she was like talking to one of the girls, and I seen her like glance once. She wasn't staring on nothing. She wasn't giving me the eyes. But like when you can just see somebody, like you're not actually looking at them, you're looking straight ahead, but you can see somebody here, and you just know that like they're looking, that they're glancing over. So I looked over, and she like looked away, and I just thought, I didn't think too much of it. And then next thing you know, she left, and I had a little like small talk with the others, the other four. Just like, oh, how are you? Nice to meet you. This is where I'm from, blah, blah, blah. Where are you from? You know how it goes. And then later on in the night, I was inside the place and I bumped into her. And I was like, oh, hey. I was like, are those your friends too? She's like, oh, yeah, they're my friends. She was like, are them your friends? I was like, oh, no, I'm like new to the city and all that here. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And anyways, I said, what's your name? I introduced myself and all that. And I was like, do you come here often? She's like, oh, no, I never come here. This is like the first time. Honestly, girls know what to say, Girls know what to say. Guys, you gotta be careful, Girls know what guys want to hear. They really do. She's like, no, this is my first time, I'm just checking it out. She's like, I've never been here before and all that. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, it's my first time too, so yeah. I was like, what a coincidence, So anyways, we're talking and all this, and then I think she went to the toilet, or I went to the toilet, and I came out and I didn't see her or something. And then I bumped into her outside later on in that night, and we exchanged numbers and stuff, and it was going really, really well. She was really pretty, she was really beautiful, and we decided, like, why don't we go for food and we can continue our conversations? So went outside, went for some food, like, around the corner, and next minute, I was like, oh, look, I've got to get going. I've got to go back now. I was like, but it's been nice meeting you. I was like, let's keep in touch, yeah? She's like, let's keep in touch. She was like, yeah, sure. So anyways, I said, maybe I'll see you next time. She's like, okay. So I left home. I went in a taxi, went home. And bearing in mind, for those guys thinking, oh, like, why didn't you do anything? Because I'm not really into that. I'm too old for that stuff. I don't know. I just think that kind of stuff's just disgusting, Like just meeting a stranger and then taking them back home. Honestly, I think it's disgusting. I think it's like classless. And not just that, if that did happen, that is not the type of girl I would ever want anyways. Do you know what I mean? That's not somebody you can build a future or have a family or something with, a serious girlfriend. And not just that, and if you are in that kind of mindset where, oh yeah, well, who cares? Like, who cares? Have some self-respect, you know what I mean? Have some decency, have some morals. Like, you don't know, if she's done that with you, that means she's done that with countless others. You don't know where she's been. Do you know what I mean? And I honestly do believe like there's an exchange of energy when you do meet like people, you know, and you have these sexual encounters and stuff. So I just think it's totally wrong. So I just thought, not just that, I'm at the stage in my life where I'm looking for something more serious, you know. I don't want some slag, you know. So anyways, so I let it go, and we stayed in touch. We're messaging each other every day. I mean, not all day, every day, but it was regular. It was consistent every day. And next thing you know, she says to me, "Are you going out tonight?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm not going out tonight." It was like the same night that I met her of the following week. And I was like, "Are you going out?" She's like, "Oh no, I'm not going out too." I was like, "Oh, okay." Anyways, I was sitting back home and I was just bored. I just thought to myself, you know what it is? I was like, I've got loads of energy. I'm bored. I've got no friends here. I don't know anybody. There's nothing for me to do. I was like, what else am I going to do? I thought I'm just wasting my time. Yeah, it's the only time of the week I actually can go out and meet people. I thought, you know what it is? I'm going to have to go out. So I thought, I'll go out. I thought when I get out, maybe I can message